In this video, I would like to talk about another particular religious practice by Jain community, well, Santara or Sallekhana. Okay, so this is the Santara debate. What is the Santara and why is it controversial? How is it affecting, or rather how is it affecting Article 21? So it's a Jain religious practice, Santara, or it is also known as Sallekhana, 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 Santara or Sallekhana. So this Santara, and it's in fact there is a Rajasthan High Court judgment in 2015. Okay, the case was in 2015. Subsequently, so it's a Rajasthan High Court judgment, and this case was filed by Nikhil Sawhney. Okay, this is the called Nikhil Sawhney versus Union of India case. Finally, it is called Nikhil Sawhney versus Union of India case. Okay, Nikhil Sawhney versus Union of India case. So what is Santara? It means fast until death. Okay, so Santara in Jain community is called fast unto death, and it's a practice prevalent is both Shvetamparas and Digambara sects of the Jainism, both under the Shvetambara and Digambara sects of the Jainism. According to it, a person after taking a vow of Santara gives up food and water and waits for death to arrive. So a person will give up food and water. Normally it is people in the old age will be doing this, food and water, and wait for death. Wait for death. That is the idea behind the whole thing. So this the argument put forward by Nikhil Sawhney, he said a practice, however ancient it might be to a particular religion, but it could not be allowed to violate the right to life of an individual under Article 21, because his argument was that there is under Article 21 you cannot, in a religious practice, if there is a religious practice coming in way of life, and if it is a reform to be done in the community, and only because it is a very ancient tradition followed, this particular tradition is nothing but suicide, or it is amounting to some sort of a suicide, and however ancient it might be to a particular religion, it should not be allowed to violate the right to life under Article, right to life of an individual under Article 21, because right to life is there, but there is no right to die. There is no right to die. So this religious practice is amounting to a willful giving up of food, and ultimately it is some sort of a suicide. So the Rajasthan High Court, the matter came to the Rajasthan High Court, and in 2015 Rajasthan High Court criminalized this practice and said that it should not be there. It is a criminal practice. You are encouraging a person to die by giving up food and everything. So this should not be done, and it even instructed the state government to prevent such activities from happening in Rajasthan, especially Jain communities are there in Rajasthan. So Supreme Court said that Article 25, the right to religion of the Constitution, guarantees all persons of equally entitled to freedom of conscience and right to freely to profess, practice and propagate religion. They have right to religion. We will be talking about that 25 elaborately. But Supreme Court, the High Court, Rajasthan High Court said that this is amounting to, this practice is amounting to violation of section 306 and 309 of IPC. It is violating the Indian Penal Code 306 and 309, which criminalizes abetment to commit suicide. So 306, abetment to commit suicide, abetment to commit suicide, and 309 attempt to suicide. 309 is attempt to suicide and 306 is abetment to commit suicide. So, it is a violation of both the section 306 and 309, and but the Rajasthan government at that time, it said that it is there is a right of an individual to practice santhara, which is protected under Article 25. And the Rajasthan government's argument was that santhara is is an exercise of self purification. Santhara is an exercise of self purification. Self purification, and this is a practice which is very popular throughout the history of Jainism. It is a voluntary vow with meditation accompanied by a person. Okay, it is a voluntary vow with plus meditation. It's not somebody is forcing to accompanied by meditation, accompanied by abstinence from food, water and every kind of nourishment. Abstinence from food, water or any other nourishment or any other nourishment. So, until they die, that is it. But according to the government and the argument by the people who follow, the Jain community experts or the leader, they say it is not giving up life. It is not, it is not giving up life. It is not giving up life, but very much taking death on in its own stride. The community's argument is it's not giving up life, it is taking death, is taking death in its own stride, in its own stride. And community's argument is also that a person who resolved to do santhara, when the body did not cooperate in living a meaningful life anymore. See, normally in the old age, a person will think about santhara when they have become an old age, when the body is not cooperating or body is not fit enough to have a meaningful life. When the body is not fit enough to do a meaningful life, to have or not to do, to have a meaningful life. The body is not fit enough to have a meaningful life. That is what the community argued. So, but the High Court and the argument by this Nikhil Sawhney, the person who went to the court, he started arguing that it is tantamount, it is equal to suicide. But that is where, is it a suicide or is it a highly, it's a religious practice in the old age, not everybody is doing, it's a, it's somebody. Now the question asked is, if somebody is not, if willfully not taking food, if somebody is fasting, or if somebody is avoiding food even to thin down, I mean, can we force them to eat food? So, these kind of questions will always be there. It is a personal decision. It is not like suicide. See, suicide is a momentary decision. So, in fact, it is true. Now, coming to the analysis, this was the thing, and High Court declared that it is almost equal to suicide and it should be banned. But Supreme Court, in the Supreme Court when the matter came, Supreme Court overturned or changed the decision, or rather overruled the Rajasthan High Court decision and said that it is a rare practice by a few members of a community, and that too with a lot of consciousness. It is not a momentary decision, lot of thought process is there, lot of meditation, and in the old age if they are giving up food and water, and in the process if they are going for self purification, it is okay. And that was the kind of mindset, or that was the kind of judgment the Supreme Court came up. So, coming to the, so Supreme Court overruled this decision. So, let me just add, subsequently Supreme Court overruled the Rajasthan High Court's decision. Overruled the Rajasthan High Court decision. So reversed it, saying that you cannot equate Santhara with suicide. So coming to the analysis, now let me discuss about the various aspects, a couple of points for your understanding. First of all, let me just put you, it is true that in both the case, whether it is suicide and the Santhara, there is a self-extinguishment of life. Okay, there is a self-extinguishment of life, human life, it is true, but the motives of the actors are totally different. You cannot compare these two. Suicide is an act of extreme desperation, a momentary decision. Suicide, extreme desperation, a momentary decision. If a person who is about to commit suicide, if they ask to think about, even if we ask them to tell why do you want to commit suicide, he may not commit suicide. It's only that imbalance in the mind. It's a mental imbalance, we can say, a hormonal mix-up, we can say, chemical change, and they have taken a momentary decision, or they may be filled with anguish and hopelessness, anguish, hopeless, okay, hopelessness. But Santhara practitioner is relinquishing food and water voluntarily, and they are seeing a huge hope. They want moksha. So they are feeling that if they practice, they want to penance to whatever wrong they have done in their life. So they want to correct. So they are arriving at a decision of this nature after a lot of calm and unruffled introspection. Santhara people, those who are deciding to take up Santhara, they might have thought about this, lot of calm and unruffled introspection. They might have taken this decision in a calm and unruffled introspection with an intent to cleanse oneself of whatever action, karma, to cleanse oneself of his or her karma, whatever actions in life, and they want to achieve a highest state of transcendental well-being. They are becoming saints. By doing this, they try to become the saint. So it is simply an act of spiritual purification. A person who is practicing Santhara is an act of spiritual purification. It is an act of spiritual purification. Okay, so it is an individual autonomy is involved in it. Okay, individual autonomy is involved in, spiritual purification is involved, and it is similar to it is similar to a lot of other religions also. For example, during the Ramzan month, the Muslim community go for fasting. Ramzan, the Muslim community go for fasting. Then among the Christians, there is something called the Lent season. Among the Christians, there is something called the Lent season. And during that time, they avoid many types of food. And even in many other communities, even the Hindu religious practices, there is a host of astronomy and astrology related fasting for the Hindu community. So in everywhere, some or other form of fasting is very common. But the only difference in the Jain community is they are giving up the food till death. See, there is no such extreme forms of fasting in other religions, but this fasting as an idea is there in every religion. Almost every religion has fasting as an idea. So, this dietary abstinence is nothing new. It is there part of most of the religions in the world, but here we are going a bit extreme. There is no doubt regarding this. But there is one big difference between this, why, now when we talk about suicide and everything, see, this attempt to commit suicide is, section 309 of IPC. So this has been included in our, IPC as a law. See, somebody is taking away his life, and the government says if you try to commit suicide, you will be, and if you did not die, and you will be sent to jail for 1 year. That is 309 of IPC. So you are going to punish. And this, section 309, because the Britishers codified the law. Macaulay, Lord Macaulay codified the law. At that time, see, the thinking is, it is deeply rooted. Why this is a, punishable offense? This is because of the Christian belief. Because Britishers made it, they were Christians. So when they made the law, their religious beliefs, influenced, this kind of an section 309 of the IPC. So in the Christianity, so once you try to understand the difference between Christianity and Jainism, you will understand why Santhara is not to be treated as a suicide or anything. So in Christianity, the Christian belief is that the human body is a God-given gift. Okay, human body is gift of God. It's gift of God, and it is a temple of human soul. This is where the soul is living. Okay, this is the body in which the soul is living. So it's a temple of human soul, and it is beyond the realm of willful and deliberate destruction. So Christian belief is you cannot destroy. It is God's gift. This is where the soul is living, and the soul will ultimately will seek to reach heaven, and you cannot destroy, you cannot willfully and deliberately destruct or destroy the body. Okay, you cannot. Christian belief is you cannot willfully destroy your body. So it's a crime against God. If you are trying to harm your life, you cannot destroy. This is against the spirit of the very belief that your life is a gift of God. Your body is a gift of God. That is the belief in Christianity. But when it comes to Jainism, it is, and in fact in the Eastern religion, the Oriental religions, these Abrahamic religions, whether it is Judaism, Jewish people, whether it is Islam or Christianity, all from the same root, the Abrahamic religions, we talk about that. Father was Abrahamic religions. We are talking about Abrahamic religions. Okay, so we are talking about Abrahamic religions, and in Abrahamic religions, the life is a gift of God. The life is a gift of God. But here in Jainism and other, in the Oriental religion, here the concept is the body is a prison of the human soul, or Jain views that the body as a prison of the human soul. Okay, body as a prison of human soul. So we are saying body is the prison of human soul, and the fulfillment of those needs corresponds to the accumulation of bad karma. See, over a period of time, because of our life, lot of bad karma would have been here, and body has become, or rather during the due course of your life, we have done, the body has forced many bad karma, and soul is affected by this bad karma. So your belief is body, or rather is a prison of the human soul, or rather the soul is it has been stuck. So if you need moksha, you have to come out of this. We have to escape from this cycle of birth and death. So the concept of Jainism is the body is not the gift of God or anything. It's a prison of the human soul. So there is a diametrically opposite concept. So giving up the body is not a crime in Jainism, because body is the prison of the human soul. So this kind of an opposite thinking, that Oriental thinking, our Indian thinking, the Indian religions have the what is body, or the need of the body and everything in Christianity or in Islam or in Judaism is totally different from what is there in our Hinduism or in Buddhism or Jainism, in the Oriental religions. So that also should be kept in mind. That is why people would like to, we talk about moksha, and in moksha what happens, we would like to come out of the cycles of birth and death. We don't want to be continuing in this cycle of birth and death. We want moksha from the whole from the life. So there is a totally different philosophy altogether. So that is why in Jainism you want to do some penance, you want to cleanse your body, cleanse your soul by abstaining from food and water, so that you can become a saint. Like whatever mistakes, whatever bad karma you have done, you can come out of this. That is why they talk about. So the court was talking in a very literal sense, and the court has looked into, the Rajasthan High Court has looked into our IPC and said that it is a violation and right to life and everything. So, but unfortunately the court did not look into the deeper meaning of Santhara and how exactly it was being practiced and all. So a couple of things finally. So the final conclusion I would like to, or final points, certain final points. First of all, contrary to the popular notion, Santhara is not only practiced by the Jain monks, even ordinary Jains practice Santhara. Even ordinary Jains practice Santhara. That is the first point. Another thing you should know here is, the idea is to, to purge old karma and prevent the creation of new ones, or rather to do penance and to repent for the old karma, the wrong, the bad karma which you have done. This is to do some penance and to repent. So that is the idea behind the whole thing. And on an average, it is found that around 250 Jains practice Santhara every year. Okay, on an average, 250 people, practice this Santhara and give up their life. In the supreme sacrifice, we can say, in a very calm and sedate way, by giving up food and water and nutrition over a period of time. It may take a couple of weeks for them to give up their life. So that is a very, very I will say a saintly practice which they do. And they also claim that the tradition could not be compared with sati or anything, because here it is entirely a personal decision. Both men and women can do it. See, in sati and all, you are forcing a lady or a woman, a wife to, or rather she's thrown into the fire. But no comparison whatsoever. It's a voluntary decision, and not only that, both men and women can do this. Both men and women can do, but more women do. Around 60-40 is women is to men ratio, because women have more willpower when it comes to religious practices and all. And in Jain texts also, Santhara is differentiated from suicide by the quality of the intent. Okay, even in the Jain texts also, they have classified, or rather differentiated, the quality of intent compared to suicide. So we cannot be comparing it with that. And even from around even in 300 BC, we are talking about 2000, more than 2000. Even Chandragupta Maurya, the founder of the Mauryan Empire, undertook this Santhara, it seems, in the Chandragiri hills. Okay, 300 BC, Chandragupta Maurya. So there is a long history of this, and Santhara is not about death or destruction of life and the mortal body. They believe that Santhara leads to non-violence. Jains, okay, Jains believe that Santhara leads to non-violence. As person observing this practice, subjugate the passion which are the root cause of all violence, so you can control the passion. It is a non-violent method, or it leads to non-violence also. So for them it is a very, very, it's not a violent death, it's a slow giving up, your conscious decision to give up by avoiding, to abstaining from food and water and the nutrients and nutrition. So the Rajasthan High Court, I mean, even I personally feel the Rajasthan High Court's argument, or rather the judgment equating this to suicide and all, I think it is too high. It is very less number of people, and the old age in their extreme form of their purification process, if they are doing, it should not be. I mean, you can give a counseling to such people. If somebody plans to do Santhara, we should give a proper counseling. That can be done. But if somebody refuses to take food and water, and if they are going for a slow and natural death through the self-purification process, which they call, it cannot be equated with suicide and other things. Suicide is a momentary decision. It's a, sometimes I will say foolish decision. It's in the spur of the moment somebody is taking a decision for suicide and all. That is not the case in this particular issue of Santhara. So this was a controversy in 2015. Subsequently, Supreme Court set aside the judgment. So it is no more. But this is how it has been practiced. This was the controversy. But today we cannot call it as a controversy right now, because it has been set aside, and the people, the Jain community which practices. But we can always talk about an education process. Okay. Now, if some of us feel that this is an unnecessary termination of life, we should counsel them. The old age people, the people who are planning to take up Santhara, there can be a proper counseling. You can tell them these are the things, and but beyond a point, I don't think we will be able to stop this from happening. But if external celebrations and all we can avoid if you want, by saying that Santhara should not be celebrated in a big way. But if somebody in the four walls of their house, if they are giving up food and water and everything, and if they are slowly marching towards the end of their life, I don't think we will be able to stop it from happening. And comparing it with suicide and applying section 309 of IPC, I think it is too much on such people. So that is the difference between suicide and Santhara, and that comes under article 21, right to life. And these are also the community, the Jain community always claim that Santhara is a right to die with dignity. Now with the new judgment after 2018, where there is a right to die with dignity, I think Santhara, with that new judgment and new interpretation, definitely Santhara cannot be treated as suicide in any case. So this is the typical peculiar practice of the Jain community, and you should have full understanding of it. So that's all about Santhara.